Hi everyone, and welcome to the third in the series of the LSN's Ask the Expert videos. I'm Anita Wallace, Chair of the Lymphedema Support Network, and I'm delighted today to introduce you to the LSN's nurse advisor, Denise Hardy, who runs a very busy practice in Kendal, and she's very, very experienced. So I'm delighted that she's agreed to come on with us, and we'll get going on the questions. So the second question, we know that getting to and sticking at a healthy weight can really help lymphedema, but is there a particular diet, such as intermittent fasting, which works if you have lymphedema?
I don't think so. I'm not a great fan of diets at all. And if most of the patients who I see who come to clinic, I would say and if they are overweight particularly, more often than not, they will say they've tried every diet under the sun. And I think it's well documented that if you go on a diet and lose a lot of weight, the chances are that weight will gradually increase again to stop the diet. So I do think the saying a diet makes you fat is quite correct. That, in the end, you do put the weight back on. So our take on it all, Anita, is that we encourage a really healthy eating way of life. It's adopting a sensible eating program. I mean, obviously, a little bit of what you fancy does you good, doesn't it? Every so often, but equally, if you can try and maintain. We all know what's good for us. We all know that eating a huge cake at lunchtime is not going to help us. But again, everything in moderation. And so what we do is in our particular clinic, and I know it can't be the same for everyone, and I hope you'll excuse me just sort of I suppose promoting what we do here, but essentially we talk a little bit about diets in the very first meeting with our patients if they are overweight, because we know that being overweight does not help lymphedema. So we need to encourage them to adopt that sort of healthy eating approach. And I think if you force it down somebody's throat, literally in the first meeting, it's not going to help them because they've heard it all before. So it's about supporting them and helping them and guiding them through what is good to eat and what isn't. We know that by following these healthy eating programs, it's not just going to help their lymphedema, it's going to help them as a whole, as a person. It's going to reduce other comorbidities like diabetes and hypertension and probably cancer and cancer regression. So it's just so important in all aspects of daily living. And so we promote it, we gradually sort of implement or introduce the best possible diets. And when I say diet, I mean a well-balanced sort of nutritional diet.
Healthy eating, I suppose.
That's it, absolutely. And it follows very much a sort of Mediterranean type of diet, lots of fruit and vegetables, fish, and lots of protein, trying to cut out the carbohydrates as much as possible. So that's the sort of approach, drinking plenty, not diet Cokes and not fizzy drinks, water ideally, but cutting out the stuff that's full of sugar, the processed foods, again, is helpful. We once did, I think, quite a number of years ago now, trying to promote this sort of healthy eating approach. And we had a group of people and helped them to sort of look at different ways of introducing these foods into their diet. And I was quite shocked that some people just didn't buy fruit and vegetables because it was so expensive.
Yes.
They didn't know how to make a basic soup, which is so nourishing and nutritious. And it really opened my eyes into, how we can help people by introducing them to the simple things. And so, as I say, we gradually sort of drip feed information to people who we think would benefit from that. And that's been really helpful to our patients. Some of them we suggest that they perhaps join Slimming World, or Watchers, for example. And there are others. When you mentioned diets, there are certain things that I know. For example, Prof. Mortimer has been, I suppose, helpful with is introduced it and suggested it might be helpful for people to follow, which is the sort of the 2-day diet, where you're restricting your calories for 2 days, but then more or less eat, as long as it's healthy, what you like over the next 5 days. And that's found, I think, to be helpful in gradually reducing weight and keeping it off. So there is some benefit to that, but one has to look into it in a great deal. And I think having a nutritionist or a dietitian to help you with that is often helpful. And I'm not those at all. I'm lucky in a way that I can eat most things, but I also exercise. And those two things go hand in hand.
I was going to say, yes, coupled with the healthy eating regime, any form of exercise is beneficial, and we all need to try and move a little bit more.
Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, so at the end of the day, you know, it is a really important part of our lymphedema program, is trying to encourage our patients to eat healthily, and to acknowledge that if they do put weight on, that their lymphedema will worsen as a result. So it becomes part and parcel of self-management. If they don't do that as well as all the other things, then their lymphedema won't be as well controlled. So it is really helpful to take on board.
I mean, on a personal level, I'm a great believer in Slimming World. I do tend to try, when I've been overindulging, to go back to the Slimming World principles, and that's just basically healthy eating, cutting out the fats and the sugars and all those naughties.
And I think, again, you know, one of the great things about the LSN is that they have got the fact sheets to support these things.
Yep, we do.
Advice and information that you can easily pick up and think, oh, well, let me just revise myself in that. And I think that's something that we obviously give our patients. We have all the fact sheets, and we gradually build up that information for our patients as time goes on.
Lovely.
Yeah, they can.
Right. So healthy eating is the key, it sounds. Eating sensibly. All righty. Thank you very much, Denise.